And then they'll just let you know when to start. I'll shut the door.
Okay.
It's really fine.
Alright. Like I said, I'm Andrew Campbell. I'm a freshman here at the U. And I heard about this contest in one of my business classes. So I thought I might as well just try and write a marketing proposal. But thank you for letting me come and present. It's a really, I guess, exciting opportunity to, I guess, share some of the ideas I had about enterprise car share. And I guess the first thing I thought of was, of course, the goals that were mentioned in the flyer I received, and that was to acquire 100 new members and increase member participation by 10%. And I think that is a really doable goal, very achievable, and with a few simple ideas, I think by next year with this budget that can be accomplished. And so some of my ideas they're really pretty simple ideas, and the first few ideas have to do with getting those 100 new members. And the first one is very simply just using social media a little more effectively. As I researched a little bit more about enterprise car share, I noticed that if you look on Facebook, there are posts about this, but nothing specific for the University of Utah. I think the most successful one I saw was probably hashtag CarShareNYC. And in those posts, people would, of course, post pictures about drives they went on, and a lot of them were actually short trips where people posted pictures of what they did, the car they were in, and then just added that small hashtag. And so that same thing can be applied in this situation at the University of Utah. And of course, that can be done by members, but a little more reliable and sure way to do that is for an employee to just start that hashtag, which then can be used on many different social media sites, such as Twitter, Snapchat, and Instagram. This is really simple, and it's a universal and uniform way for students and faculty at the University of Utah to have to get exposed to enterprise car share. And so one example of this, a very simple example, is on Snapchat. I'm sure you all know what that is. At the University of Utah, any student can post to, it's called Our Campus Story. And so an employee or anybody assigned by Enterprise can post any Snapchat about their car share experience to that, and if chosen, everybody at the University of Utah who looks at that, Our Campus Story, will see that. So that's a simple example of a way this can be shown to really thousands of people very easily. And then another way, the last way for this social media aspect is to use targeted ads on social media. That can easily be done on Facebook. That's probably the most common way to use targeted ads on social media. But then this can really get our target audience of out-of-state international students and faculty. And so if we use social media effectively and relatively simply, this can be an effective way to expose thousands of new potential members to enterprise car share. Another way to acquire new members is by creating direct contact with target audience. And the target audience was outlined as being international, out-of-state students and faculty. And of course, this is a perfect target audience because these will be students and faculty who are moving from most likely a faraway place and will need an alternative choice of transportation. And so every student who starts at the University of Utah as a freshman has to go to new student orientation. And this is a especially important time for enterprise car share to get the attention of new students because they will be especially impressionable. And also, because it is a good product, they will see that as an alternative to bringing their own car from a long place in order to have transportation when they come to school here. This is also effective because students often come with their parents to orientation, and they and their parents can see an alternative and much cheaper way to find transportation. And then, especially for targeting international students, this will be effective because they will most likely have no transportation as if they come from another country. But one thing that will be very effective in getting those international students to become members is helping them acquire driver's licenses. Every single international student I know does not have a driver's license. I think mainly because it's complicated. And so Enterprise CarShare can provide a simple support to help them at least know how to get a driver's license. I think coming from another country, even us as, I guess, residents dread going to the DMV. And so I think an international student would have similar fears, if not greater fears, for doing that same thing. So Enterprise CarShare can help them by providing simple steps that at least let them know how, and at most help them actually get their driver's license, which then makes them an eligible member to be part of CarShare. So those were my ideas for acquiring new members. And then for the second goal of increasing member participation by 10%, like you can see, there's mainly just one idea for this, and that is gamification. So gamification, very simply, is providing rewards for members as they do certain things. And of course, those can be dictated by the company, but some ideas that will be helpful in encouraging member participation are rewards for members as they go a certain number of miles using CarShare, or rent a car a certain number of times. And I think most importantly, getting rewards for referring their friends. Because this not only increases member participation, this will acquire and attract new members. So gamification can be as complicated as we want to make it, but I think at its simplest, gamification will just be letting members know that there is a reward for doing certain things. And that can be, like I said earlier, those simple things of driving a certain number of miles or renting a certain number of times. But the important thing in gamification is letting people know that these rewards are available. And so that can be done, I think, at its simplest with an email, a regular email, letting people know, letting members know that as they participate more, they will get more benefits. And at most, the creation of a downloadable application on their phone to help them track their progress. Because I think these days the simplest motivation has gone a long way. In other companies, a good example of this is Uber. I have never used Uber myself. I've never seen an ad for it online, and I had especially never seen an application prior to use it. But I've heard from hundreds of other people of what Uber is, so I know exactly what it is without actually being in front of an advertisement. And so I think that points out how effective the encouragement to refer friends is. Because in Uber's case, you do get a reward for referring a friend. And then, of course, that increases the popularity among existing members and then, of course, new members. And so these ideas, I think, used together are a effective way to reach the goals for 100 new members and 10% member increase of 10% member participation, as well as keeping a relatively low budget. The expenses, of course, will be dictated by the company, what they want to spend money on. But all of these, like I said, all of these choices are just for basically encouraging participation, which then encourages excitement, and then, of course, it helps us get more participation from members and new members. So, thank you for letting me share some ideas. Do you have any questions that I can answer?
You said you're a freshman. When did you first hear about CarShare on campus?
Well, I'm a freshman but I went on a mission. So
Okay.
this is my second semester. So I'm technically a freshman. But I heard about my first semester here.
Okay.
But I saw it as I was walking towards the honors building. I
Okay.
just like saw the car.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Are you a member and have you tried it?
I've never tried it. And
Okay.
I'm not a member.
Okay. Jamie?
I didn't have any. No.
I think one thing, so obviously the target audience that was stated makes a lot of sense because especially in-state students will be commuting, and in my case, I'm from like 20 minutes away, so I just use my car. But I think a lot of students will have, even those students will find a need if other students are using it. Because, I mean, I don't have my car all the time, but there are times when I'm here and I just need a place to go. But I think if I knew that my friends use this regularly, it would be something like really, I guess, attractive to me that I would be willing to look into. So,
That brought me some questions.
yeah,
Okay.
So when you come up here and you don't have your car, how do you get to campus?
usually it's a bus.
A bus, okay.
Yeah.
So mass transit wise?
Yeah.
Okay.
So, and I think another important thing is letting people know where the locations are. I think I looked for our campus. I think there are 4 locations, and they are 3. Okay. So they're in relatively good places like the stadium and over by the honors building, and those are good locations. But I think if people know that they can go and come back from a place, and there are other locations in Salt Lake, I think if they realize that it's not just for however many square miles we are on at the university, it will just open more doors.
Okay. So as a student that's done more research on this than probably most other students here, the locations that we have our cars,
Mm.
how do you think they work on this campus? Are they good locations? Are there better locations that you think that we should have our cars?
As far as locations go, I think,
And I know you might not have researched
right.
that, so
no,
I'm not-
well, I know at least 2 locations, and as far as I think the one in the honors dorm, if that's still there,
Mhm.
that's where I saw it originally. I think that's a perfect location because most of the honors students I know are from out of state, and they're living in those dorms up there. So I think that's a great location. But the stadium, I don't think anybody goes there unless they are going to their car, or I guess they're going to tracks, which is that makes sense because they will be in a place where they're trying to get somewhere. So I think those are good locations, but I think a central location as well. Like I only go up there because I have one class up there. I wouldn't go there for any other reason. But I think central locations. I think a lot of people use this parking garage over here by the business building. So, where's the other one? The third one?
So the 3 cars that are currently on campus, the top of President Circle,
Okay.
the honors dorms, and then one in the Fort Douglas parking lot up by
Oh,
the
really?
Heritage Center.
Oh, okay.
Mhm. Those are the 3 current spots. So the stadium was a spot, but it's
Oh,
no
it was?
longer there
Okay.
anymore.
Well, I guess where students are living, especially up there, it seems like a good place.
Okay. Any other questions?
No.
All right.
All right.
Thank you for your time.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so
Thanks a lot.
much. It's great to be here.